After months of attacks on commercial shipping, Red Sea travel just got a whole lot more dangerous. 3 people were killed in a missile attack by the Houthis off the coast of Yemen on Wednesday, forcing survivors to abandon the vessel in the Houthis' first fatal strike since attacks began in November.
While we were going, we sent a helicopter. The helicopter found the crew in the life raft. Then we used the helicopter and we pull up 8 people.
The U.S. military Central Command said at least 4 additional crew members on board the Barbados-flagged Liberian-owned carrier were wounded.
The naval forces of the Yemeni armed forces carried out a targeting operation against the American ship True Confidence in the Gulf of Aden with a number of suitable naval missiles. The hit was accurate, thanks to God, which led to a fire breaking out in it.
Hours after the Houthi attack, their 5th in just 2 days, U.S. forces destroyed 2 drones they say presented an imminent threat to merchant vessels and U.S. Navy ships in the region.
The United States will continue to hold the Houthis accountable for their attacks, which have not just disrupted international commerce, not just disrupted the freedom of navigation in international waters, and not just endangered seafarers, but now tragically killed a number of them.
Despite more than a month and a half of U.S.-led airstrikes, the Iranian-backed Houthis have remained capable of launching significant attacks on merchant ships. This includes an attack on the Liberian-flagged MSC Sky II earlier this week, forcing the Indian Navy to send its sailors to put out the fire, and the recent sinking of the Belize-flagged Lebanese-operated Rubimar, which had been drifting off the coast of Yemen since being attacked in February. Meanwhile, Iran announced it would unload about $50 million worth of crude oil from a Marshall Island-flagged tanker it seized last year, further exacerbating already heightened tensions in the seas of the Middle East. With Iran reportedly instructing its proxies in Iraq to pause strikes on U.S. forces, its proxy in Yemen continues to operate in full force. A Greek-flagged U.S.-owned cargo ship came under 2 missile attacks in a span of 2 hours off the coast of southern Yemen on Monday. The strikes come hours after a Houthi missile strike damaged a Belize-flagged British-owned ship sailing off the Gulf of Aden, forcing the crew to abandon ship.
The naval forces of the Yemeni armed forces carried out a qualitative military operation targeting a British ship, Rubimar, in the Gulf of Aden, with a number of suitable naval missiles. The ship was severely hit and is now at risk of sinking.
In a separate incident, the Houthis claimed they shot down an American MQ-9 Reaper drone, something not immediately acknowledged by U.S. forces. But those affected by repeated attacks by the Iranian proxy in the Red Sea are not limited to Israel, the British, and Americans. The attacked British ship had been on its way to Bulgaria after leaving the United Arab Emirates, and the damages have been more dramatic to some than others.
Look at the situation today in the Suez Canal. It used to bring Egypt approximately $10 billion in annual revenue. This has declined by a rate of between 40% to 50%.
Meanwhile, in Brussels, the EU announced its plan to launch its own special naval mission to the Red Sea.
It's not just European ships that are repeatedly jeopardized by Houthi missiles in the Red Sea, but the entire international shipping industry, ships from Asia, ships from Africa, and it also affects the Gulf states in particular because their harbors can no longer be used. That's why it's important for us, the European Union, to make a contribution to the protection of civilian shipping in the Red Sea with the Apsides mission, which we are finalizing here today.
But that might not be enough to deter the Houthis. The U.S. military's deputy commander in the Middle East said the Houthis are the first entity in history to ever use anti-ship ballistic missiles. And in the meantime, Iran continues to supply its Yemen proxy with sophisticated, advanced weapons to attack ships in the Red Sea.